this to me. It doesn't do anything about the rock that hit you and the hurt. It just makes the hurt get bigger. That's a principle for counseling. Professionals teach it. Professionals teach it. Don't blame the instrument. It doesn't mean the behavior is okay. Stealing the $500 of Peter Burwash is not okay. There's other examples, but time doesn't permit. The principle is important to understand. That's why I'm spending so much time on the principle. This principle of acceptance comes up again and comes up again and comes up again in the Dhruva story. So acceptance, we'll be exploring it further. Here's another reference. Canto 1, Chapter 18. This is Maharaj Parikshit gets carried away and puts a dead snake around the sage's neck. And the comment, this is actually the verse, the devotees of the Lord are so forbearing that even though they are defamed, cheated, cursed, disturbed, neglected, or even killed, they are never inclined to avenge themselves. Now, it's pretty hard to avenge yourself if you've been killed. But the principle is, don't get in this get back mood. It doesn't help the situation, doesn't help the hurt that you feel, the negative emotion that you feel. Don't do that. This is the higher principle recommendation that Suniti is passing on to Dhruva. Nanchi says, not only take shelter of higher principles, my dear boy, whatever has been spoken by Suruchi, your stepmother, although very harsh to hear, is factual. And that was, take up the worship of Vishnu. Now she's also saying, and accept the karma factor, but take shelter of Vishnu. Therefore, if you desire at all to sit on the same throne as your stepbrother Uttama, then give up, this is the higher principle, give up your envious attitude, there's a higher principle, and immediately try to execute the instruction of your stepmother. Now, these are the words of a Paramahamsa. And we're not Paramahamsas yet. But a Paramahamsa could take gold from a filthy place or milk from water. So she's taking the gold. Take shelter of the personality of Godhead. Your stepmother said it. Take that, because she was right. But if you are envious, Dhruva, or you, Prabhu or Mataji, are envious, you won't be able to take good instruction from a good place or a filthy place. That's the nature of envy. Envy, interesting graphic, right? Envy is like a hungry demon with lots of sharp teeth, which can eat away any positive qualities. So now, I'm taking longer. I don't know if we're going to have time for questions, because I'm getting carried away with this message because it's so important. There's a devotee here in Vrindavan. I don't know him personally. His name is Adi Purusha. He's one of the teachers in the VIH. He teaches Bhakti Shastri. And I received this message, not the graphic, but the message from Adi Purusha Prabhu, so I'm giving credit to Adi Purusha. He was visiting in the Washington, D.C. temple, and he was giving a seminar on Bhagavad Gita, and this was the main theme of his seminar about Bhagavad Gita. So it's Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam. It's something we're supposed to learn. Acceptance. When we don't accept an undesired event, it becomes anger. When we accept it, it becomes tolerance. When we don't accept uncertainty, it becomes fear. When we accept it, it becomes adventure. When we don't accept others' bad behavior towards us, it becomes hatred. When we accept it, it becomes forgiveness. When we don't accept others' success, it becomes jealousy. When we accept it, it becomes inspiration. And here's the punchline. Acceptance is the key to handling life well. Negative emotions is part of the place where we live. So Niti knows how to respond to life throws rocks at me and it hurts. She's accepting. Here's what Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says. She's saying to her son, my weeping has been written on my forehead by the Creator since birth. It's my karma. So her weeping has to do with her own situation. What's her own situation? It's not a negative emotion situation. She's married and she's neglected. She's not even in the palace. She's like, he didn't say he kicked her out of the palace. He just didn't care. That's not a pleasant emotion. And she's feeling some unpleasant emotion about her circumstance. But she's accepting it. My weeping has been written on my forehead by the Creator since birth. But she remains compassionate and well-wisher to her son. You should be happy. She's a great personality. She's a fantastic supermom. Or we don't have to be mothers. I'm not a mother, but one can be a good friend of others that are undergoing misfortune. And how do you extend yourself? She's modeling how to do that. And now, after speaking about the higher principles, she's saying, take shelter of one who's the shelter of higher principles. She's going into transcendence now. And that's the lotus feet of Krishna. That's the shelter of higher principles. Just like this picture of a mother bird with her two little birds under her wing. And they look like really contented. Not like nothing can happen when you've got a mother bird with her wings out. But they're feeling sheltered. Without further delay, you must engage yourself in worshiping the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. If you desire to be seated, so she's addressing what he wants. She's not superimposing what he should want by what she wants for him. She's supporting what he wants. This is another supermom characteristic, or a good friend characteristic. Understand what the other person's wants, interests, and needs are, or needs, interests, and they have acronyms. NIC, N-I-C. Needs, interests, and concerns. Try to understand another's needs, interests, and concerns. This is part of empathic communication. Empathy should be targeted towards what the other person's needs are, not what you think their needs should be. That's dysfunctional. I mean, you can try to educate, whatever, but if you don't have an understanding, you don't care to have an understanding of their needs, interests, and concerns, it's a dysfunctional relationship. It's not going to be empathic at all. But she has that skill. He wants a kingdom. If you desire to be seated like your brother, then without envy of Suruchi, execute the true words uttered by her. Worship the lotus feet of the Lord. And then she starts worshiping and honoring the lotus feet of the Lord. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is so great that simply by worshiping his lotus feet, your great-grandfather, Lord Brahma, acquired the necessary qualifications to create this universe. although he is unborn and is the chief of all living creatures, he is situated in that exalted post because of the mercy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, whom even great yogis worship by controlling the mind and regulating the life air. That's his great-grandfather, now his grandfather, Swayambhuva Manu. Your grandfather Swayambhuva Manu executed great sacrifices with distribution of charity, and thereby, with unflinching faith and devotion, he worshipped and satisfied the Supreme Personality of Godhead. By acting in that way, he achieved the greatest success in material happiness, and afterwards achieved liberation, which is impossible to obtain by worshiping the demigods. That he hadn't died yet. Attaining liberation doesn't mean you have to leave your body. His consciousness was liberated consciousness. And so she's indicating, follow that same path. My dear boy, you should also take shelter of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is very kind to his devotees. Persons seeking liberation from the cycle of birth and death always take shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord in devotional service, becoming purified by executing your